Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Machine Expert HVAC. I'm your host, Leandro Romada, and in this video what we're gonna see are different levels that we have on the installer software. So let's go to the application presentation. So in the previous video we have seen what is the installer, okay? And now in the new version that we have of the latest version that we have, which is the version 1.5.0 of the Machine Expert, we have the possibility to assign levels of access to the information. We have seen that the installer allows us to organize the data in a different way to easily access the information, and it's much better if we use the GNOME, so we can easily see what is going on with the machine to have a global view. We saw that we can create folders, and each folder can have different variables. So what you can do is to specify the variables that you have with different levels. So for example, if you need to make some particular configuration of some of the variables that you have that affects how the machine is going to work. For example, if you have a parametric air handling unit, and then you just need to specify some variables to be only accessible by the administrator, then you can do that in this way. And for general configuration of the machine, how it's supposed to behave, you can use the supervisor, and therefore the general variable, just to see how it's working, you can use the default. So what we have now, there are three levels. So the first one, which is default, the base, as we always have, it has no password. Now we have supervisor and the administrator level. Okay, so each of these supervisor or admin level has their own password. Okay, for supervisor is service, and for admin is administrator. The password is everything in lowercase. Okay, and this is available from the version 1.5. The previous version we don't have it. So now, how we can identify this? In the new version of the software, we have a new column called Installer Access Level, and it affects the, let me just hide myself, and it affects the EEPROM parameters and status variables. So here we should be able to select if it's visible or not, or will depend on each other level that we have now. So if we proceed, we can see if we select this arrow, we should be able to see never visible. So even if you have any level, you are not able to make any change from the installer. Okay, but if you have the code, okay, it will help you. This is when you only share, for example, with another person the installer, so you can access to the machine but not to the code. Okay, so if you share this, the installer, then they should have a specific password in order to change some of the variables. Okay, and if it's good, for example, for the administrator to have like the parametrics of the machine, and the supervisor for the configuration, and the base for all the data. Okay, so we have never visible, always visible, supervisor, admin. If there is something particular you don't want anyone to see, never visible. And again, the level and the password. So now, how we can sort this out? So the first thing is configure all the variables that we want, okay, on the level that we want. Then what we need is to open the installer. We can double click on the CFM file that we saw in the previous video, or go to developer, open with installer. Now, once the installer is open, what we can do, okay, is to change the passwords. Okay, so if we go to file, change menu access level, sorry, let's change the level. So I jump on the next one. So in order to change the level here to see the variables, what we need to do is to change the menu access level. So here we select which is the level that we want. There is no need for type the level or the user is predefined. we have base, supervisor, and admin, and then we just need to type the password. Okay, once you change that or enter the password, it will validate, and then you should be able to see the values that you want. Now, here, this one should be showing over here. So in order to change the password, which is one of the first things that you need to do, is to select the level, okay, define the current password, okay, by default are these two, service and administrator, depend on the level selected, and then select the new password. As it says over here, it's not possible to change the base level. So one of the things that I was playing with is that don't forget the password. The final round I didn't play too much, but I believe I asked, and there is no way to reset it, so don't forget it. So well, that's it. So we have already created some the EEPROM and status variables, okay, and what we can do is to check on the project which one are for visibility or not. So here you can see they are always visible. So what I can do is to always visible from one, these two only supervisor, and these three only for admin. So I have created the drives menu, but not for all, so I'm going to add it 4 and 5. Okay, you should be able to see this part. This is for the EEPROM. So let's go for the status just to show you the words for all of them. So here is the same. I have one for the valves. So the first one always visible, the second one's no. The third one for only admin. Okay. Let's do always never visible, and this one always visible. So once you have configured this, compile, just make sure. I'm going to perform a compile all, so it will solve any issue that we may have. Okay, just wait for it to finish. Okay, brilliant. So now let's go to open with installer. Let's open on the other side. Okay, this is the installer now. As you can see here, I have the menus, training, drives. You can see only showing one, and this one should be only showing the value 2. Okay, so the number 1 is never visible. It's not in here, okay, which is good. We don't want anyone with the installer to see it, which is good. Now the other issue could be, okay, I can see the address over here, so I can try to check which is the value, but that would be tricky too much, and it doesn't make too much effort. But you can try to trick if you know. But you can also limit the access on the EEPROM. I believe you have here read only, and the other ones right read only false. Here there is no way. It's only for the status that have that part, but I have already explained it, so I'm not going to access into that into many details. So now I have already configured them, the variables, to be visible or not depending on the level. So here, file, change menu, access level. So by default I'm in base, but I can change that, supervisor. And now I don't remember the password, so I believe is service. This is the default, so service in lowercase, service. Okay, and you can see I'm seeing the 3 and the 2 of the previous level, also lower levels, and the drives, and can see the other ones, which is good. And the never seen or the never visible is not showing, which is good. So here, so if I go back here, file, change menu, access, base, okay, it's vanished. Now if we go to the higher level, administrator, administrator in lowercase. There we go, we have everything. So let's change the level password. I'm going to change for administrator, so it's going to be administrator. The new password is going to be admin in lowercase, admin lowercase. Change password, password change for this field, close. Change menu access. I'm going to select base. Okay, and now I'm going to access with the new password just to show you how it works. Admin in lowercase, and I have access again. So I'm going to change this to the default one. For password, admin, administrator, administrator. Change password, level, close. Just to show you that works. That's it. I'm going to use administrator again. No, I'm going to show you that with admin now it doesn't work. So, no, sorry. That's level, admin. So admin lowercase. Run password, which is fine. Administrator. And there we go. Okay, so this is something new that we have in the newer version. Okay, and let me just double check if I don't forget about something. So remember, service for the supervisor and administrator for the admin. So compile the project, open the installer, change the visible, change password, create folders. We have already done that part in the previous video on the installer. So so this is the levels that we have on the installer of the EcoStruxure Machine Expert HVAC. They are useful when you want to only provide information depending on the level, saying the same installer project to everyone, share it without having access to the code of the PLC and some of the variables. So this to share the information and limit the access to some parameters of the machine. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.